start of the conversation, it's all about trying to invest in a business that's going to be here for the next 100 years. So from the kind of people who are hired into the organization, the agronomist, the head of production, and the partnership we've had with a couple of colleges of agriculture to be able to bring in students who have learned agriculture from a base route and are looking for places where they want to practice. So from there, our people is very critical. The next phase to that is training. We train our people on agricultural practices, from crop protection to food safety to how do you manage and tend the crops, to even identify diseases and pests and make sure that we get the best yield out of this. And then to lay on top of that is our planning process. As a business, you've got to continue to be in harvest mode. So every day of the year, you've got to be harvesting. And that brings me into planning. So we have put in a planning system over 18 months period that sees us that all our fields, we know what we're going to be planting over the next 18 months. Yeah. So as the planning cycle is moving and all of that, so all of that is being followed through.
And obviously you'll be able to achieve this because of your offtake agreement.
Yeah, because we've got offtake agreements with customers, and so you're not going to be able to disappoint them.
They have an idea of what they need in specific weekly or monthly?
On a weekly basis. Okay. We deliver to them on a weekly basis. So we have an idea of what we need to be able to harvest on a weekly basis, and so that
meet their needs.
Yeah, and that informs the planning process. And that is the most critical thing in this agronomy process, from the people to the training and then your planning system to make sure that you continue to be in business.
In terms of human capital, if we brought employment, obviously you've brought employment to Dobi community here in Gwagwalada. So can you tell me more about the people in Dobi?
So 60% of the people that work in LATC Agro are from Dobi village in Gwagwalada, because that's our host community, and naturally we give preference to them. So whether they've got graduates in agriculture, they've got interns that wants to do industrial attachments, we give preferences to them. And then 60% of our workforce again are women, and it's so deliberate because they care more for crops. They tender more for crops than men. They are more patient, and it provides employment in this community. Our presence in this community has brought economic empowerment into the community. So most of our staff live in Dobi community. The children go to school in Dobi community, hospitals in Dobi community. So you find out that we spend, apart from the business itself, we're giving back to the community where we're currently operating, and then so it's sort of there's a symbiotic relationship. We take their children, their young men coming to work in our business, and back we are also accommodation, buying stuff from the community, and the relationship.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, win-win situation
for everybody. What brings you to this town?
It's a business.
So you enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
So your family live around this area?
So let's move to the second phase. So the crops are ready. We've now harvested. The next phase is the pack house. Pack house is where you sort, you grade, and you pack the produce into the sizes our customers want. And basically what happens is when you're sorting, it's a different process entirely, and different sets of people do that. And you grade your produce into grade A, B, C, and D. And then there are some that will be rejects, which customers will not take from you, and we have to reject them. Our rejects are thrown into the compost most times, and our compost, they come back into the soil, which you then, so it's like a cycle. So you recycle them basically. Now, when you're done in the pack house, we've got a cooling room, which is basically a 20 tons cold room, where you cool down the produce before it goes to customer. And then our transportation to our customers are also done in the cold room, via a cold van, cooling van, more or less. So from the moment you harvest your produce, degradation starts to happen. So the quality of the produce starts to drop. So you've got to keep it in a particular temperature till it gets to the shelf of the high-end premium customers. And that's how the chain works. So all of this we've invested in one way or the other to make sure that we satisfy our customers.
Try to get requirements. We sit down with the customers, what crops the customers want. Do they want cucumbers, do they want peppers, tomato, and we deliver to them when they want it, how they want it, their specification and on time. So for our peppers, we have 4 colors of peppers, bell peppers and ham. We have the red, we have the yellow, we have the chocolate, and we have the brown.
You have the chocolate?
Yeah, we have the chocolate.
So is the chocolate like in between like red and
yes.
green?
Yes, so you will see, let me show you this one. So this
okay,
is kind of like an in-between color.
So you have it this color?
So yes, so what we actually like to do is to allow it to completely change color. So we will not be selling this one, we'll actually keep them. First, I think they're loading right now, that's going to ShopRite. So we have ShopRite taking tomatoes, we have them taking peppers. They tell us the volumes that we expect, and we sit down and talk about the volumes that we plan to deliver, and then we meet somewhere in the middle. So usually they'll give us a 12-month plan, and then during the week we'll continue to communicate and so on. Look, we might have it's agriculture subject to weather and different variables. These are team loading. We have both the guys in logistics, we have the guys in grading and sorting. Different customers will have different specifications. Like, they will say the butternut should not be more than 900 grams, and they will want 8 kg in crate. So when it's bigger, then you have to go for another customer charge. So those are part of it. There are a lot of planning.
So is this a cooling line?
So this is this is the cooling line. The reason why it's not on right now is because you have your butternut. This can stay at room temperature and more. But yeah.
You didn't turn it on for the butternut?
No, we don't turn it on for the butternut. Yeah. It's okay. This can sit in room temperature. That's a shelf life for about 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Good, yes.
Well, obviously for tomato sensitive vegetables.
Yes, then you have to put it.
It's pretty cool. And how many did you get in?
So right now we have about 2 tons of produce inside here right now. So we'll probably have to go a second time, come back a second time for it. So it's a whole day's job for everybody.
For our investment, this is huge. So were you guys able to get assistance from the government or more like from the bank or angel investors? How were you able to achieve this in less than 4 years?
So talking about investment, I think we've invested over $2 million in this project, and it's been from equity from shareholders, grants from agricultural organizations, support from different organizations that give grants, but majorly we funded this from our investors, our shareholders who have put equity into the business over the time. Yes, our capacity expansion program is going to see us go to government, see us go to Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, see us go to the banks to go and have conversations. But at the moment, it's all about equity investors that have put all of this together. It's not a bad situation like it has been recorded in every other part of the country. Yeah, headsmen come around and stroll around, but we're fortunate 100 hectares of the farm is fenced round and we're operating within that. So that puts a barrier between cows, heads being able to enter into the farm. At least there's that barrier. But of course, you see cows coming in, you see heads coming around, and but we've got relationship with the community because they are within the community, and because we have that relationship, we're able to talk to the head of the community and have conversations. So that helps to stem them from coming into our farm or forcefully killing each other.
Do you believe that's a peacekeeping strategy other communities should replicate?
I think so.
So just have a relationship
with them, have a relationship with the heads of the community and the people. They're in clusters, and you know these clusters, as long as there are a relationship within them and they know the economic importance of what you have put in their community, it then helps the conversation to make sure that your crops are protected, your investments are protected. And I think that's the strategy we have employed over time.
So in 5 years' time, should I look forward to seeing LATC Agro shops?
In 5 years' time, what the plan is to double our infrastructure on this farm to be able to cater for our current high-end retail markets, and then that will be a phase 2 of our investment profile and what we want to do in the future. But right now, we're gearing towards ourselves to say, let's even satisfy the high-end profile customers we have today to make sure that we do not disappoint them and they are happy customers. Then our phase 2 will be the original vision, which is we now know how to grow the crops, we understand the science, we understand the quality, we're doing a fantastic job, and let's move into the retail end of it. So it's going to be like a phase 2 of our growth profile. But for now, yeah.
You've been able to achieve this in 4 years, and I'll call this successful. Is there any policies that will enable LATC to scale up their business and for investors looking to come into the business?
I think looking at the government policy and the focus on agriculture over the last 4 or 5 years, the enabling environment has been created from availability to access to funds, to access to inputs, and even the government employees listening to you, wanting to support the business. I'll give an example. So we're trying to build a dam in here, and then the Federal Ministry of Water Resources has been here giving us, helping out, and then trying to help us with the designs. Those are kind of the policies that are in place, and it's costing us nothing to do it. They're just doing it because, oh, you're into agriculture, we're going to support you. And it's the same thing when you talk about water, when you talk about electricity, and you're trying to bring infrastructure. Because you're in agriculture, a lot of the government agencies are listening and they understand the economic impact it is bringing to the community where we're operating. So they're very, very receptive. So those things are there, and I think anyone who is going to invest in agriculture should be thinking beyond, oh, I'm in agriculture because I want to just make money or I want to make some profit. You should be looking at it from the perspective of corporate social responsibility, and then bringing employment into a particular community. When you're doing that, then the enablers from government starts to flow in, and then the support you're getting will increase.
So what advice do you give people that want to get into the sector? They're thinking investing, okay, I have extra money, side business, I want to do a greenhouse.
It's a good business to get into, but it's a business that has a lot of years of incubation. So it's not something you do today and then you make money tomorrow. It's got its pains, it's got its blessings. So I would say good margins in agriculture, good margins in this business, but the fact is you've got to be very patient and you've got to continue to go at it even when there are failures or when there are disappointments. Continue to go at it to make sure that you don't repeat the mistakes and you perfect your science over time. Makes you win, and then the opportunities and the doors just opens up. It's a good place to be.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Wandie. Appreciate it.